Hello and welcome, my Scorpio collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Welcome to your work, career, and vocation read for February and March 2021. I'm your reader, Angelo, Lyons, for short, professional witch, professional intuitive, president of DrawingTheCircle Productions, the Archangel of Lyons, Angelo Lyons, but you can call me Mel. Hey. Oh, a busy day here at DrawingTheCircle Productions home office. Very, very happy to be doing these reads. It's a nice break from the soulmates and the twin flames and all that stuff. I mean, sometimes there ain't nothing going on but the rent. They got to have a job if they want to be with me. So let's get up in this gig. This is a 3-level of power reading, essentially 9 cards, 3 different decks looking at your life path through the lenses of 3 levels of power: work, career, vocation, physical power, mental, emotional power, spiritual power, right? The chakras, the root, sacrum, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown, and 8th chakra. Your spiritual higher self and all that jazz, right? Bringing them into alignment for a 2-month period, February and March. That's why I do those, because work, career, vocation usually takes a little bit longer to grow and evolve until it has a growth spurt, right? So let's see what's going on for my Scorpios. Oh, a couple other, because I got my clipboard in front of me, Virgo that I am. I am doing tarot parties on Facebook, on my DrawingTheCircle Productions Facebook page, not the Angelo Lyons for short Facebook group. There is a difference. You don't even need to be on Facebook now to take a Facebook event. It's Zoom format, literally. I subscribed to Zoom as a pro member, whatever they call it, right? So that I can really do tarot parties. Maximum 10 people. It is a party. It's really, really cool. So join the circle on Facebook. The events are posted there as well as, and I share them all over God's creation. So if you want to come party, Monday night, Eastern, 7:30 p.m. But if it really takes off, I will, of course, add other times, as well as people can book me privately to do exactly that. What other? Oh yeah, my book Words of Grace is coming out-ish. We're hoping full moon in Virgo in this month, right? We're looking forward to that. Okay, that's about it. Otherwise, general read. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Don't worry about the levels of power. There is a link in the description box from Myss. These are her archetype cards, lecturing about the 3 levels of power. We're just applying that to life purpose. You'll see what I mean as we go. Otherwise, feet on the ground if you can. Focus on your breath if you will. And I will do the best that I can to get you the clues, tips, and hints from my pantheons of the divine. So let's do this. Please take a nice deep breath. I know, 5 minutes of exposition, explanation, and here we go. My collective pantheons of angels, archangels, goddesses, gods, the ascended masters of life path, work, career, vocation, and the higher selves of all involved. 5th dimension and above, 8th chakra and above. Please work through me. What are the dominant archetypes in place for this Scorpio collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign watching this video, receiving this reading for February and March, their work, career, vocation? So, root, sacrum, solar plexus, physical power, work, survival intuition, how they survive in the world, their physical power, what's going on, the dominant archetype in their career, heart, throat, third eye, crown, creative intuition, a passion, a hunger, a thirst, the thing that allows our soul to move through us, creative intuition, career, what's going on in the 8th chakra for the Scorpios watching this, their calling, their spiritual power, that 8th chakra, visionary intuition, the seat of the soul, and all that jazz. Let's oh shit. If this was a relationship based thing, I would say this is a frickin' story unfolding here. Let me just get them on the table. Just keep in mind, as lovely as an archetype sounds, is as toxic as it can be, as toxic and scary as an archetype sounds, is as wonderful and healing and bright as it could be, because you got the prince in your work, the lover in your career, and the vampire in your vocation. Can I only tell you this? This sounds ridiculous. Like, let's be glad this is not a twin flame read, please, since I don't do them on my channel anymore. I'm to here with twin flames. I'll do soulmates. I'll do the path that you live readings, but it's like dipping yourself in toxic collective caca. That's caca. Not to be confused with cacao. I'm just going to read these as they are. These are supposed to be triggering, and work, career, vocation, at least you got the vampire. At least a good place to get it is in the 8th chakra. You'll see why. So, the shadow and light attributes. The shadow attribute of the prince. I have the prince archetype lifelong. You can have an archetype for a reason, a season, a lifetime, like literally for like a half hour. You can have it as well as from womb to tomb. The shadow attribute, using power for self-aggrandizement, making yourself larger than you are, puffing up your chest artificially, right? But using power to do that, and that can certainly be political power. And I'm not talking necessarily of electoral politics and all that, maybe. But, you know, within groups of friends, what's a prince without a principality? The light attribute, romantic charm and potential for power. Now, this is a masculine family archetype, but anybody could have this one. It is about using your charm, your charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. And honestly, I mean, in the light, like, in that really, like, healthy thing, that romantic charm can really inspire and uplift and lead people. I mean, a prince can be a leader. Prince Caspian comes to mind. I've been doing a little Narnia here and there on my days off, kind of like shift me into something a little bit more, I don't know, C.S. Lewis. Slip your foot into a little C.S. Lewis path there. This feels really interesting, although I notice I am crossing my legs and my solar plexus. I'm going to say that, you know, the potential here for you to really do some good, at least think of this as the 8th chakra power going on in your work, that there's an ability to use your charm. Now that you have the lover, heart, third eye crown, your career, this could be either really lovely or really toxic. And a scale, obviously, a sliding scale there. The shadow attribute of the lover, right? The lover, oh, it sounds so beautiful. Well, here's the shadow. Obsessive passion that harms others, self-destructive devotion. Now, this is not a romance read. This is not a romantic sexual. This is work, career, vocation. So, somebody can have an obsessive love for their career, and, you know, shutting out everything else can be a little crazy. The things you do for love, the things you do for love, like walking in the rain and the snow and there's nowhere to go. The light attribute, I think, speaks to what you're shooting for here. Great passion and devotion, unbridled appreciation of someone or something. So unbridled appreciation and love for this is a passion. So whatever your career is here, it's like it's heart-centered and you're open, and that's very Scorpio. Others might not be aware of it. You might be fronting a little bit with this prince and its shadow, sort of puffing up your chest, seeming perhaps invincible, or I don't care, maybe even aloof, Scorpio. But that in order to protect that lover, but then, you know, that romantic charm and potential for power. There's such potential for power here, bringing these into alignment. But now, remember how I said the lover? It's like, oh, the lover. It's like, oh no, not the vampire, but wait till you hear the light. Well, hello there, Melchior. What cute. Hey, baby. Lay down for mama. I love working from home. Sort of. Mostly. The shadow attribute of the vampire, you're well aware of if you're not. There's a video I have on YouTube, lectured, feels like decades ago, it was only 4 or 5 years ago, Vampires and Witches. You might want to check it out. If I can remember, I'll pop it in the comments. The shadow attribute, depleting others for your psychic survival. We've all done it on bad days. That doesn't mean you have the archetype. Chronic complaining and codependency. Vampires are parasites. That's why garlic kills them. Garlic kills it. It's a vermifuge, right? Oh, there's so much L-O-R-E there that is so relevant symbolically. Should you have a vampire in your life, or should you be in the light part of the vampire, which I call the vampire slayer / healer? very Buffy, makes you aware that someone or something is draining your life force. Now, that's what I said. If you're going to get this in the 8th chakra, get it in that visionary thing. The ability to really be aware and see from the 8th chakra point of view, from the satellites, the GPS point of view, what is draining your energy. And I have a feeling that will show itself certainly in the next 3 cards, right? We're going to clarify these with the Daughters of the Moon Tarot. So if, like I said, work, career, vocation, those archetype cards are sort of the 8th chakra point of view, right? Like from the satellites. This is heart, throat, third eye, and crown, work, career, vocation. So it's a very holographic read. Please take a nice deep breath. Start with the exhale. Make room. They're taking me deep here for you, Scorpio. This is the stuff that you probably don't share with other people or don't want them to know. Please, my goddesses of water and the sign of Scorpio. 3 cards in clarity for the Scorpio collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign watching this video, receiving this reading in their work, career, vocation. We've got the Prince, the Lover, and the Vampire. What is their heart, throat, third eye, crown? Their interior psychological, mental, emotional experience of their work with that Prince archetype, right? In their career with that Lover archetype, so really heart chakra, I would say, indicated there big time. And that Vampire just slid right out. That Vampire in their vocation. Got a vampire vocation, but what would a vampire vocation be, right? It would be, well, I mean, wooden stakes will kill a vampire, but it works on everybody else too, by the way, right? Particularly through the heart. But what is it? What does it mean to be a vampire healer? How do you heal a vampire? Well, they have to be willing to see their own reflection, which they're usually incapable of. Narcissist, but usually can be covert narcissist with that chronic complaining. Remember, there's more than one form. There's more than one flavor of narcissist, darlings. There's a whole fucking pantheon, apparently. Well, a dominance of fire energy here, and a court card. For this Prince archetype that you have got, this soul power you are alchemizing and developing in your work, you've got the Capricorn, which, yes, this could be a person, maybe Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, whoever, whatever. Cardinal Earth. Passoe, though, the Buffalo Woman, the Way Shower, the Teacher. Very much a highest potential. So potential for power with 10th house Capricorn, highest potential. There you have your verbal link. That you have immense potential in terms of physical manifestation in this world. And I think you know that, right? I think you know that you've got the goods. You're solid gold. You've got the goods. You go where you want in your neighborhood. You're making it. You've got the chance and you're taking it. Sorry. That's a 70s flashback. That's disco, darlings. I'll have that in my head all day as punishment. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Your potential for power is a higher potential here. So from the outside, from the inside, the internal experience, heart, third eye, crown, yeah, it's probably really hard. It is slow and steady wins the race. It's Capricorn. It's Cronus, the god Kronos, swallower of the Olympians until they give him some divine ipecac. In your career, though, you have got the 8 of flames, the 8 of wands. Now, burnout in this card, yes, can refer to internal burnout in terms of that I put out more than I took in, right? I ran out of fuel, burnout. But I'm not getting that off this. I'm getting that this is like almost traditional, like 8 of wands, but internal, like your creativity surging and moving fast with this passion, unbridled, right? Unbridled appreciation of someone or something. And I really feel like that's your career, or that's inspiring your career. Now, maybe this is like, okay, all right. So let's say, I don't know, you're a songwriter and you've fallen in love. Well, that's going to absolutely inspire you, right? Keep that going. Now, with that vampire archetype, maybe it's a codependent love song, because most of them are. I can't live if living is without you. Oh, in retrospect, what a vampire song, right? It's like, yeah, you can. Yeah, you'll be fine. How can I breathe without you? Inhale, exhale, repeat. Come on, people. Some of the language we've been given. No tea, no shade to the writers. Blessed be. Everybody's got to, do their art form, and that is certainly an expression of human life. But this is a work, career, vocation reading. I got to say, with that lover archetype, with that 8 of flames, that feels like intense passion, right? Great passion and devotion to your career. And look, it's going to be slow and steady wins the race, but honestly, I think you're going to like this. In your vocation, you've got the 9 of flames. So you go from the 8 of flames to the 9 of flames, 9 of wands. Here, not so much the wounded warrior like we're used to seeing. And nothing wrong with that. That may be, but this is spiritual power. This is the 9, the wanderer, seeing the sun over the horizon and going for it, saying, I have conserved my energy. Spiritually, I know that the fulfillment of my desires, my fulfillment of my calling, at least this piece of it, it's minor arcana, it is so close. I just have to keep going. Now, the wanderer is a little bit different than the pilgrim. The pilgrim knows where they're going, for the most part, right? They're walking a path. The wanderer, sort of like the seeker archetype, right, is not all that wander are lost. Following your inspiration, but with that vampire thing, this might very well be away from something that has been draining your energy, because it says in the light archetype, the light aspect of the archetype, makes you aware that someone or something is draining your life force. So this might also be you having to be in a situation that it's going to take your time to work through. Like whatever you do to pay this is probably, well, they're showing me 75%. That's probably the case. Like what it is that you're doing for a living is probably draining the fuck out of you, right? That Capricorn thing of, oh God, like walking uphill in the snow both ways, Grandpa, which is Saturn is kind of Grandpa. It's Kronos, the time. And physical restraints too. So you have all this potential for power, and I get it. And your career, you love it, but it's sort of like saying, I need to walk into the sunlight. Oh, there we go. Because I don't know if you could see the sun sort of either rising or setting. You can't really tell in this card. That the wanderer, she has her 9 wands affixed to her wagon, and she's going to make that journey. She's going to move forward, but she's not quite there yet, right? So walking into the light, and I've seen a trend, this particular set of readings, work, career, vocation, this time around, February, March, there always seems to be like the predominance of power, the leverage of power seems to be 8th chakra spiritual. Now, maybe that's just the trend of where we are right now, or maybe that's always the way to go. Spiritual solutions, Wayne Dyer, which just flashed into my third eye. So work it, right? Work it, but spiritual work it. Use that power. What is draining your energy? Because honestly, if it's codependence, there was a time on this planet where codependence didn't exist, because it was sort of like, screw your dreams, we have to bring in the harvest. Right? I know you want to do this or that or this or that, but the survival of the tribe depends upon you hunting or being a milk person. And was I milkmaid? I'm sure we weren't all maids, right? Anyway, what does this look like on the outside? Now it's because we've evolved psychologically over the millennias, right? Where now we have passions and things that are written in our hearts for us to complete, and someone is draining us from it, or draining our energy, so that we can't do it. You see what I'm saying, right? So what's this look like on the outside, you big prince archetype? Breathe. Yeah, my gods of water in the sign of Scorpio, please. 3 cards in clarity for the Scorpio collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Sun, watching this video, receiving this reading. What's going on in the physical aspect of this? Hey, we'll see if you come back up. The physical aspect of this, root, sacrum, solar plexus, right, of their work, career, vocation, February and March 2020. They got the Prince with Capricorn. What's that look like on the outside? They got the Lovers with burnout, but that feels like wildfire burnout, like a lot of passion, just kind of burning through it. Feels really good and really strong. What's that look like on the outside? Perhaps from the outside looking in, which is another way of interpreting this. And with that vampire in their vocation, their vampiric Vocation there with that wander, and I feel that. I get that now. It's like, what's beyond the thing, right? That wanderlust. Like, can we please move on? What's the next thing, right? What does this look like on the outer for them? February, March 2021. That's what's going on. All right. So look, predominance of water here. We got the Six of Cups, right? So definitely, it might be that you've been doing your work for a long time and you might have some fond memories of it. I just feel like you might be outgrowing it, that it's time to harvest this. It's time to sort of move forward because there is a potential for power here. Now, you don't have to blow up in fact, particularly if this is like a family business or something that you have friends and connections that you've built over the years through this work, I don't necessarily think that walking away from this is going to be instant, right? This can be done gradually. Slow and steady wins the race. If this is what's draining you, particularly if you work with family, for some of you that's how it is, or if it's a family business or something like that, because there is a draining element and it's draining your spirit, which fuels your passion. And what really clinches that for me, this has got to be about the past, although there tends to be, I'm also hearing this, there tends to be an equal give and take here emotionally. Like, there are some good feelings here. It might just be that you've outgrown it. But you got the Judgment card here. So you got the Lovers and that passion, that Eight of Flames kind of raging inside of you. Like, if you're an artist, I totally get it. You might be totally in love with this stuff, but there's, and you know, I'm also going to say with that Six of Cups, we are still in Mercury retrograde at the time of this recording. So maybe there is some come around there. There are some things returning up or coming up from the past there that it is time for them to be resolved, because certainly with the card of the Judgment, there's a final judgment, a revelation that's being made. Hermes as psychopomp, his most serious of epithets, guiding souls down into the underworld. There is something resurrected here. Perhaps your career or your passion for your career has resurrected here, that's really making you look at this completely different in terms of what you're doing in your work, because it's sort of like, well, I mean, reconciliation, but also resurrection. Right, obviously in this card we've got little mummies going, Hermes! Ah! Well, he's a god, what does he care? He's an Olympian. So, you know, that there is a lot of introspection needed for that, I feel like. Although I don't think there's going to be that much, because if you get the opportunity to fulfill yourself with that Lover's archetype in your career, I think you're going to do it. But if this is a thing between having to choose one or the other, which you're going to do, I think you're going to go for your career instead of what your work is. Although it may not be instantaneous either, Scorpio. You don't have to rush through this. It feels like it can be done gradually. That, again, they keep saying slow and steady wins the race. Because here is, I think, what's going on in your vocation, whatever it is that you're dealing with here, is very emotionally upsetting. I mean, you've got the Five of Cups, same deck, Mythic Tarot in the outside, in your vocation, but in your work you've got the Six. So this does feel like there's some emotional upset here. Maybe not so much a sense of loss, but a sense of sacrifice, because you're having to kind of stay with something perhaps out of tribal obligation. You know, your friends at work, you know, or whatever connection that is, definitely feels, and I mean, there are good feelings there, so I get that. It's not like this place is shit and where these people are horrible. I don't get that. But I also think it's very draining, and maybe not because of direct codependent relationships in an office situation, or who would have ever thought it, but because your soul has moved on. Look, I used to work at Borders Books and Music back in the 90s. I was a community relations coordinator. I did events, right? And I was a public speaker. I am a public speaker. But there was a time when I loved that job, and then as I would go in all perky in the morning, and I had friends there. I was friends with the manager, and it was great. I was sort of like middle management, I guess you'd call it, the PR person. And there would be, just after a certain point, my soul had moved on into Drawing the Circle Productions before I had even thought about going out on my own, but you know what I mean? And it was draining. And I loved it, and it was still draining because it's like my higher self said, okay, you got to this point, I'm moving forward, now close the gap. That's very Abraham Hicks, by the way. Your inner being in the vortex in the future, if you want to go there. So I do feel like there's some emotional upset here about you, and not just moving on, you following your passion, right? Going from this 8 to the 9, your vocation, your calling, something is calling you. I mean, what is a calling, right? When someone say, oh, I'm following my calling. Well, what is that? Right? I think there are just some forces at play here that are draining your energy about it. And sometimes that is the toxicity of the well-meaning, right? Well, but can you really do that? I don't think you should do that because is it safe? Is it going to make you money? And I understand that. That's people's concerns, but it's also their fear. If you're supposed to do something, calling, the longer you resist it, the harder it gets. And unfortunately, that's the learning curve. That's how this thing works, particularly with Capricorn energy. This is not going to be easy, but nor does it have to be instant, right? And the truth of the matter is, if you're doing what makes you happy and following your passion, you're going to find out who's really with you and who isn't. Because when you're really turned on and doing the thing that you love, people will support you and back you and say, you fucking go. I got you. You got this, right? But if they don't, they're going to feel threatened by it because they're not doing it themselves, or, green-eyed monster, deadly sin of envy, whatever that is. And maybe that's some of that 5 of Cups too. Maybe you're realizing from that 6 of Cups that maybe not everybody has your back. But it feels like if you have yours, particularly with what's the only major arcana card in a 9-card spread here, the Judgment card, I think things are going to be revealed. And I think the more you go for whatever your creative intuition, heart, third eye, crown is sort of telling you to do, if you get that it's slow and steady wins the race, and you can be a bit covert about it, Scorps, which I know you like. My older brother Matthew is Scorpio. Yeah, I'm a Pisces moon. I was able to feel him out before shit went down. Usually I'm still good at it, for everybody now. But it does feel like if you really follow your calling, you can walk into the light and really away from the vampires, and they can't follow you there. So, may the Scorpio collective sun, moon, rising, Venus signs be blessed with all that they need in their work, career, vocation, February and March 2021, that they may really follow their calling into the light, regardless of emotional upset, and wander, though not lost, following their calling, and to manifest, experience the manifestation of this clarity, this Judgment card, this resurrection, this revelation, so their passion can move forward with the lover archetype in their career. So at their work, slow and steady will win the race there, though there will be some emotional balancing and some connections there, that they really have the opportunity to use their charm, to use their power in potential, manifesting something really good for them, and possibly really, really in service, perhaps even in some way inspiring and leading for the well-being of all. So mo to be. And so it is. Little confusing, but Scorpio reads. Let me tell you, they are the hidden sign of the waters, right? Of the water sign. So if you liked it, hit the thumbs up. You want more, subscribe. Feel like commenting, please do. Otherwise, wishing you the very best and the very blessed in your work, career, vocation for the rest of February and into March 2021. My Scorps, hail. Farewell, and blessed be.